World Championship winning Barretts. Most likely would have ended up in the hands of Wise, but for Blacklist International, they played either in the XP or in the jungle. So it's a flex pick there for Blacklist International. So Bren Esports also wanted, just like earlier, took out the Matilda, and Blacklist still pretty much sticking to the Hayabusa and Valentina ban, affecting the abilities of Saxa, and at the same time potentially few rocking a terrifying Valentina pick.
And looks like a lot of focus on the XP lane here. Galing sa Bren Esports, tinanggal ang glue at tinanggal na rin ang Barretts. Tinatanggal talaga nila yung mga tanky na taga-panggulo, mga pang-set na rin na pwedeng manggaling sa Blacklist International. Tingnan natin kung ano bang gagawing final ban ng Blacklist International sa kanilang last ban of the first banning phase. Mali yung lumabas kanina, no? Non-ban yung nakita natin. So this is going to be something new for the side of Blacklist.
Blacklist International have a lot of options. They can be safe and take out something along the lines of a Paquito, or just like as we heard now, they actually decided to take out the Eve. So really minimizing the potential picks that you can pick up for a high impact mid laner such as Eve and Valentina. Bren Esports on the clock now. First pick. They can pick up the Paquito if they want to. A lot of options that they can go for at this point. Something like Paquito is looking like a very, very safe pick.
Let's see, ito yung yung drafting natin is actually battle of the analyst and the coaches. In terms of the analyst, let's just acknowledge that may bagong analyst ng Blacklist International, Mr. Aniel Giandani, master the basics, isang content creator for MPL-PH na analyst na ngayon ng Blacklist International. Meanwhile, for Bren Esports, I think solo coach si, of course, ang nag-iisang Francis Glindro, Coach Ducky. Esmeralda ang kanyang pipiliin bilang priority pick for the blue side.
Yeah, so this is also just an equally safe pick. Picking up the Esmeralda. Most likely going to be going to the XP lane unless they have any other plans that we're unaware of. Selena was wide open, and of course with few in the lineup for Bren Esports, would have been a really great pick. Selena ni Few, sobrang iconic na hero at player pairing yon. For Blacklist International, the Rafaela is open if they want to pick it up early. Or the Edith, actually. Edith is open. They pick up Wise SS.
I'm so excited for this now. The YSS already up online for Blacklist International, and the Edith as well. My God, this is our first Edith game of the day. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wala pa tayong nakikita ng Edith, di ba?
Yep, we've seen an Edith ban, pero wala pa tayong Edith game na nakita. One of the newest heroes on right now before Yin came out. And Edith could either be placed in one of the side lanes or pwede rin siya laro in tank role. So either position 5, could also be position 3 if they want to, depending on how they want to play it. Pero generally makita natin this is gonna be mostly an armor build Edith with how she works. More armor that you help build for her, mas tataas yung damage ng ultimate niya, yung Primal Wrath, basing off of the extra physical defense or the physical defense that she has, and also with the HP.
And Lancelot and Ruby will be the next Bren Esports pick. And of course, alam naman na natin, Carl TZ already out for Bren Esports, but Lancelot is still in for Bren, and sasabayan ito ng isang Ruby. So marami na silang front line at meron na rin silang burst damage na nanggagaling sa assassin na si Lancelot. Pero ano pa bang mas BB-wise pa kung hindi Estes at YSS? This is their debut game in our Phase 2 Sibol Qualifiers here.
Your
Tonight
team is banning.
B-Wise na magpapahinga sa Season 9, muli nating mapapanood ang YSS Estes combo nila.
And they have an Edith with it as well. Once full bar yung Primal Wrath or yung Wrath ni Edith, it could make for an actually very terrifying counter engagement. Once out of Phylax, once nasa marksman mode si Edith with the damage coming from the YSS also, could be a scary thing to go up against, considering na meron ding healing na mabibigay yung Estes as group healing as well. Of course, a signature Ube plays now for Blacklist International. So I'm loving the first 3 picks for Blacklist right now. For Bren Esports as well, respectable first 3 picks. I like how Blacklist actually took away that low Yi. Could have been a really great option for Bren para mapares sa Ruby, para mapares din sa Lancelot. Help set things up for the Lancelot to deal damage, dash out, and we know this Ruby will be doing its absolute best to be very disruptive sa formation as a lineup ng Blacklist. So I'm loving the draft so far for both teams. I also like how Bren Esports decided to take away Clint, and that is also going to be an option for Blacklist International in the gold lane. So these two teams, man, you're seeing the battle of the minds here, how well they know each other right now, and I'm just loving what we're seeing so far from the draft.
Your team is banned.
And looks like the last ban for the side of this is actually the last ban coming in from Blacklist International. Rather, they're gonna take away the Lilia na alam naman nating nakapataas ng wave clear. E nabanggit mo na rin kanina, the Louis is actually rising in popularity right now. I'm not quite sure kung ano nga ba nangyari sa meta, kung bakit biglang naging mas popular ang Louis ngayon. And Louis, as you said, is very anti-Ube. Gusto niya talaga na dikit-dikit kayo. Pero ang dami na rin nag-try ng Louis, and the Ube just won an M3 World Championship. So, medyo mahirap talagang kontrahin ng Ube playstyle, especially if yung gumawa ng Ube ang kalaban mo. So, this is a big challenge for Bren Esports for sure. Let's see on how they're gonna try to overcome this. They're gonna take away the Uranus and the Clint. Wala nang tangke sa XP lane. Tinanggalan na ng Blue, tinanggalan na ng Uranus, and Esmeralda will be very much happy kung sino man makalaban niya sa XP lane na yan. Because as far as I know, Yuzhong na lang ang isa sa mga pwedeng big threat for the side of Blacklist International.
Toms is also still available for the XP lane as a pick. So that's still there. You can just equally be able to help clear the waves and then just be able to respond to team fights. The last 2 bans from both squad are really great. You're really seeing some signature picks there, but then at the same time, picks that can give them a hard time. With Bren Esports banning out the Gloom, assuming they're going to be picking up a marksman here for their gold laner. Paquito, umabot hanggang second phase na, bukas pa siya. So Paquito gets picked up here. This is going to be the XP laner here for Blacklist International. So for Bren Esports, gold laner and their mid laner will be their last 2 picks. A lot of options available. They can still pick up the Farsa if they want to roll that way. Nakita natin, Farsa still viable. Yes, they reduced or increased the cooldown ng ultimate niya, pero napapalaro naman ng maayos. Just great timing, great positioning as always with that Farsa. You'll still be able to make it work. If they want to be unique, they could actually pick up something along the lines of a Valir for their mid laner and just pair it up with a marksman. There we actually see the Claude, their last pick. Who is it gonna be for the mid lane?
Oh!
Yes! Salino was open!
Yeah, nabanggit ko na rin kanina, no? Selena Nifyu, one of the iconic picks for the captain himself, Bren Esports. They're gonna take the Claude at may Selena na rin sa mid lane. This changes a lot of things for Bren Esports dahil ngayon na may Selena na sila, as long as tumama ang Abyssal Arrow, it's always gonna be big pressure for the side of Blacklist International. Let's see kung anong gagawin ng Blacklist dito. Ano ba ang kanilang magiging last pick para sabayan ang composition ng Bren Esports. They already have their XP laner on the side of Paquito na pwede mo na rin namang i-adjust sa gold lane. Pero Brody is still open if you want to go for that pick. Pero mukhang Harith ang pupuntahan nila.
Yeah, it's a pick I was about to say. Harith actually, especially in the gold lane, we've seen it in the streams of Blacklist International. So Harith also rising up as a gold laner. His damage, most recently tinasan yung damage niya sa patch 1.6.5. He is a very valuable option now in the gold lane. Well, he has been a viable option, pero now even more so, Nathan has fallen out of favor for a lot of the teams with picks such as Lily performing well in the gold lane, Brody performing well, even Popol and Koopa was picked in the gold lane earlier. Claude coming back with his Art of Thievery, just slightly improved. The Harris pick makes sense there as the last pick. So I like the picks that we saw so far from both squads right now.
And ito Game 1 pa lang ng Bren Esports versus Blacklist International. We took our time with that draft, and it's quite exciting to see signature picks, especially coming in from Few and VYs, people who are champions, world champions. Let's see game number 1 between Bren Esports versus Blacklist International as we enter the land of dawn. Ito na yun, prime time, Bren versus Black.
Ooh. Position 4 and 5, Edith. I think this is going to be a pause for Edith, yes. And then they're going to be having the roam boot onto the Estes, unless it's going to be the other way around. Amo kasi Haji yung naka-roam boots kasi yung XP right now napupunta mo ang mas madalas napunta kay kay Estes .
And ito medyo tahimik ang ating laro. Wala pa naman tayo nakikitang big invades. But in terms of rotations, if you umalis na agad ng mid lane, he's currently level 2 at naghahanap na agad ng pressure dito kay Owl in the gold lane.
Oh. See, both teams are now being very calculated. Kung saan sila gagalaw sa mapa, how are they gonna be clearing their minion waves? How will they maximize their ability to win their lanes? Either Dominic making sure that he gets that cannon, that siege minion. Abyssal Arrow hits, but just forcing out the Purify from the hands of Oh My Venus.
That's the first big Abyssal Arrow coming in from Few here kay Mr. Archangel. Tamaan si John Marvilla Luna with the Purify being burned. That's 1 minute without the Purify for Mr. Villaluna. And magiging magiging massive if ever they do go for mid-lane fights. Pero si Medivh na ata ang uunahin nila. Still, no kills, no? Nakaka-surprise na pressure lang talaga ang laruan ng both teams dito.
Yeah. Interesting thing to note here, roam boots for both the Lina and the Ruby. Both of them have roam boots up. Dire hit. Blessing there for Medivh, for Mr. Arcangel, and Conceal there for Joy Boy's Ruby.
Bren Esports, they are ahead of 300, 200 gold. Di pa naman ganun kalaki ang ating gold lead. In fact, Turtle will be started here by Saksa. Mukhang Turtle secured na ata at binigay lang ng libre ng Blacklist International. Alam nilang power spike ng Lancelot ngayon and they shouldn't fight that or contest ng agad-agad.
This Claude on the hands of Kev on the side of Bren Esports, killing spree emblem niya. Slightly nerfed. Instead of 15% of a heal, you get 12% heal, but it is still an impactful thing to have na pag nakuha ng kill dun si Kev, so be able to heal through it. Same thing goes for Saxo Jago. So Blacklist International has to watch out for that. They're gonna need to be able to burst down that Claude or that Lancelot. If not, they're gonna be seeing team fights turned around in their faces if they're not careful. But right now, both teams doing a really good job of just maximizing the farm that they can get. Dahil yung unang turtle na punta sa side ng Bren Esports, of course, they have this very small lead early on, but Blacklist International still keeping it close. Great play by both squads so far.
Here comes the Abyssal Arrow, Haji. Medyo mabilis lang naman pala yung stun na yon. Kinailangan mag-back agad ni Few. And Owl has a long-range Abyssal Arrow, and Few on fire. Talagang tumatama ang Abyssal Arrow, sadyang wala pang nako-convert na kills.
Oh,
here comes the kind of execution, Haji. Ako, mukhang delikado para sa MVP of Season 8. And wala pa rin kills. 4 minutes na.
Around late into the 5-minute mark, makita natin yung flicker babalik dito ni Haji, babalik dito sa kamay ni Haji. But since Bren Esports were able to force out a flicker, they have one less thing to worry about. Of course, the setup potential from an Edith flickering in and then using that second skill, just like an ejector combo toss from the jawhead. Great play there by Bren Esports to force out that flicker.
Yeah, and this is a very, very silent game from Bren Esports and Blacklist International. May mga nararamdaman tayong mga umaamba pero wala talagang pumapagsak ng mga kills. And right now, no, Turtle started by Bren Esports. Happy to see here in Dominic. Nako, napakagandang hila galing kay Joy Boy. And here comes the kills coming in from the Queen herself. But the Turtle will be going to the hands of Bren Esports at magbaback na rin sila. First blood, mapupunta rin sa kamay ni Saksajad.
Calculated team fight by both squads. Their great positioning from Haji and Joy Boy respectively. But at the end, it was a great pull by Joy Boy to give Bren Esports that small window to actually win that team fight, and eventually they were able to. Tower gets broken topside by Bren Esports. Blacklist International only lost one so far. So, low kill game. But nakita natin dito yung mastery talaga ng dalawang teams in terms of managing their minion wave, prioritizing the objective team fights, being able to win victories via objectives. Tower already broken there by Bren. And the first item pick up here by Joy Boy. Dominance Ice para mabawasan yung healing ng Blacklist International.
And that is a very early dominance ice coming in from Joy Boy. Naninigurado lang, you're facing an Estes. In fact, the best Estes in the world currently. And Blacklist International, kailangan mo talagang bilisan ang dominance ice na yan. Wow! You really landing those abyssal arrows. Sadyang ang ganda ng positioning ng Blacklist International para protektahan yung mga natatamaan ng abyssal arrows. But the flicker is burnt already for Dominic. It's a 3v1 dive. Ay mo pwede, tumama na rin. Phantom execution. Here comes the kills. Going down for the side of Bren Esports. Isa na namang kill. Mapupunta kay Saksa Tiago. Pero ang sabi ng Blacklist International, sige, train tayo ng isang turn.
Great call by both teams right now. Blacklist International baka makukuha ng isa pang tore. Blacklist losing Dominic there in the bottom lane. Bren Esports Medivh trying to defend Arcangel. You cannot hold on. So just like that, Blacklist International found a window of an opening, forcing a rotation topside. Pero Bren Esports nakasagot din sa bottom lane, able to break the tower down there. Nasira din nila yung torre sa gitna. So again, still very great trades all throughout the map para sa dalawang teams natin.
Yeah, and the gold lead is just 1.5k gold lead for the side of Bren Esports, no? Pero Turtle na naman ang sisimula ng Bren, and mukhang control nila ang lahat ng Turtles sa laro na to, as Lord na ata ang sunod na lalabas. Blacklist International, they're slowly losing the early game, but this is quite expected, no? The Lancelot really does take a very short time to have a power spike like this one.
Yeah, and mid to the late game is the time ratio for Blacklist International with their Harith, with their YSS as well. So they don't need to rush into things, they don't need to force a lot of things, and that's what we're seeing. They're just trying to go for the towers, and meanwhile Bren Esports, respecting that, they're going for wins everywhere else.
Joy Boy as well, but look at that, blazing duet. Hindi na lang tumama, actually tumama sa madami. Falling stars as well. The healing coming in from the Queen is more than enough to keep them alive. Men, napakagandang blazing duet galing kay Kevs, pero sabi ni Venus, hindi pwede.
The heal and the response, and this is it.
The response from Blacklist International is just too real. With a snap of a finger, nagkaubusan ng tore, nagkaubusan ng kills. Blacklist International equalizes the gold lead.
A great chance and a great response by Bren Esports. Sinabi mo na nga, ang ganda ng pasok doon ni Kevs. Blazing duet. Akala ko nga makaka-triple kill siya. But the domain of the Moon Goddess, blessing of the Moon Goddess, the ultimate of that Estes is absolutely being able to heal through everything. Kahit na may dominance ice na si Joy Boy, not enough to reduce the healing that the Estes can provide. Bren Esports, they are playing well in this game though, but Blacklist International showing a classic Blacklist response. Ube, group together, counter-engage, punish. Loving this match so far.
That was a perfect blazing duet coming from Kevs. And Bren Esports, akala talaga nating lahat yun na yun That was the Bren Esports moment, but the total deny coming in from the blessing of the Moon Goddess. And now, in terms of objectives, alamang ang Bren Esports dito. May turtle na sila kung gusto nila dagdagan ng Lord. Sino kaya makakapagpito ng Lord dito? Saksa na ng pero no HP na siya. Here comes the blazing duet. Babagsak ang Lord. Sabi ng Harit, hindi yan pwede dito. And now, Abyssal Arrow will land, and that is the fight. 1 kill for Blacklist, but the Lord will be secured by Bren.
Great adjustment there by Granzu at saka si Medivh. Dahil yung ultimate ni YSS, the Mountain Shocker, nahinto yung pagtiti ni Saksa Jago at nakita sa mapa na sobrang low na niya. So dumaan doon si Granzo at saka si Medivh para makover lang yung takas niya. Great response there by Bren Esports.
Oh, wait a minute, Harrod! Here comes the Zaman Force. Low HP na dito si Haji. Pero mukhang mahihina na pumunta sa torre. And there goes the Eden. He's got the damage coming in from Saksa. It's insane. But he's gonna go down. And now Kev, the next place duet not yet available. Here comes the stun. Tumama na rin dito sa backline ng sakay ng Blacklist International. Killing spree without traceless. 4 twice. It's just insane. 2-for-1 ang ating exchange at Lord ang kanilang next target.
Very close game dahil sa engagement na nangyari doon sa orange buff. Nakatulak ang Lord sa bottom lane. Nawala yung second tower ng Blacklist International. The Blacklist International responding really well in that engagement. Being able to sidestep, step away from that blazing duet, step away from the abilities that could damage them. It ended up becoming a 2-for-1 trade with Blacklist International winning it. But Bren Esports fans and Bren Esports themselves will be happy with the fact that yes, nawala yung Torre dun sa bottom lane. There's a little bit more control or a little bit more opportunities to keep the control. One thing we have to take into consideration as well is early on in an item check, maybe around 4 or 5 minutes ago, nakita natin Haji and Oh My Venus, pareha sila nag-build ng Dreadnought armor. Tingnan natin kung bubuin nila parehas yung anti-crash, pero nakakatulong yun sa pagbaba ng damage ng Claude at ng Lancelot.
Yeah, and Bren Esports right now, they're trying to re-establish pressure that they lost in the past few fights, no? And effective naman ang kanilang ginagawa. And in fact, 2K na lang ang gold lead ng Blacklist International. Blacklist, on the other hand, would like to exert more pressure around that bot side. And controlled na rin nila ang red side map ng Bren Esports. And it's up to Bren to actually find another fight kasi 30 seconds na lang magkakaroon ulit ng Lord.
This could be a big Lord fight here. Depende kung paano i-manage nila Granzu at nila Dominic ang mga side lanes nila. Top side, minion wave, Granzu on the way to force that push para ma-force si Dominic na mag-clear. Unang makakabalik sa Lord pit, baka si Granzu if he decides to go back to the rest of Bren Esports tapos ng clear ng minion wave. Dominic also ready to respond real quickly. 4 versus 4 scenario potentially, dalawang XP laner. Now it's a split push. There's gonna be 4 members near this Lord. Both teams just trying to find an information and opening to go in. Brute Force Breastplate pickup here for Kevs. Could help him with reducing the damage that's being dished out by the YSS at galing sa Paquito.
Yeah, and Blacklist International, they do have a priority over this Lord area considering na mas malapit sila. But that doesn't mean hindi kayang pumasok ng Bren Esports. They have a lot of dashes, they have long range engage, and Few is one crucial Abyssal Arrow away from potentially changing this game for Bren Esports. Pero tingnan nyo naman, napakabilis ng Lord. Here comes the Zaman Force, and looks like Lord will be secured by Blacklist International. Kailangan na mag-back ng Bren Esports, and they're gonna back out a 5-man strong. Pero ng Lord ay magmamarcha na sa mid lane ng Blacklist.
Good call by Blacklist International. Pagkita sa mapa ng Blacklist International with the Mountain Shocker, kita nila Saksa Jago just a few steps too far from this Lord na kaya nila i-rush yung Lord. Domain of the Moon Goddess dropped down by Oh My Venus to slow down the members of Blacklist. Marching down the mid lane with the Lord. Will Blacklist try to end it here?
Luminous Lord, kitang-kita ang pagbunggo at pagbagsak ng mid lane turret. They could go for the base here. Wala pa namang bawas na nagaganap pero mukhang naubusan din sila ng minions. That is nice wave clear coming in from Bren Esports. They live to tell another day. Nagkamali na ako, no? Pero Blacklist International, they're still trying to exert pressure now. This time in the bottom right.
Still focused on the towers. Haji trying to toss in Joy Boy pero di makita. See Blacklist trying to end it here. No, they back off. Bren Esports, depensahan nila unti yung Torre nila sa top lane but halos wala ng Torre ang Bren. Tingnan natin kung makakabalik sila sa laban to. Haji picking up the Oracle. There's gonna be more healing received galing sa Estes.
Now, 90 seconds away from the next Lord. This is going to be a slow, I think it's going to be a slow game for sure. Kumbaga, babagalan na nila. Blacklist International, they know that they're ahead. 2 inhibitor turrets down for the side of Bren Esports. Meanwhile, for Bren Esports, they're gonna try to continue to find those small opportunities na tumama ang Abyssal Arrow. Pero napakahirap kasi yan, especially if you have Mountain Shocker just constantly checking kung nasaan kayo.
8k gold lead for Blacklist International. Bren Esports is trying to manage the minion waves. Blacklist, hinihintay nila ang next Lord. Pero kung makahanap sila ng opening, they will try to go for it. The Abyssal Traps placement here for Bren Esports, giving a little bit information. Might slow down the minion waves a little bit there in the top lane. Just trying to control the situation para hindi mabasag yung torre nila doon sa taas. Blacklist not gonna be able to take it. 40 seconds bago mag-spawn yung Lord.
Defensive play coming in from Bren Esports. Isang lane na lamang ang natitira sa kanila na may inhibitor turret. Kailangan talaga nilang alagaan ang kanilang top side. Meanwhile, mid and bot lane will be marching on or slow pushing ng passively na lamang dahil basag na ang kanilang inhibitor turrets. And this is really bad for Bren Esports considering that Lord is on the other side of the map na malayo sa mga open lanes nila.
Haji, Mr. Salik Imam holding down that front line for Blacklist International. Meanwhile, Mr. Vincent de Guzman, Joy Boy, trying to do the same there for Bren Esports. One opening, what these two teams are looking for as Wise starts the Lord.
Now, this might just be the opening. Haji gets pulled in together with Wise, but the first coming in from Saxa. Wise is down. Blessing the Bulgari, hindi na natin ang kanilang core. And here comes the Lancelot. Here comes Joy Boy, the boy pa rin. And looks like Gibbs. Hindi pa Wise. Nandun pa rin pala. Hindi basta-basta bumabagsak ang core ng M3. And now Blacklist International, they're gonna take this Lord. Then akala ko talaga bumagsak na si Wise doon kasi nasa gitna siya ng Thorndros. Pero clutch pa yung heal ng The Queen.
The second chance, the healing power of that Estes na naman ay sa panggandang setup galing sa Bren Esports. Alam nila kailangan nila abutin si Wise doon sa Lord Pit. And if not, sasagot si Wise doon sa laban na yun. And it looked like it was a win for Bren Esports again. Kevs with another beautiful entry with that blazing duet. Undeniable great setup by Joy Boy. Granzu got to hit the falling star moon, but Blacklist International was able to respond and was able to readjust mid-team fight again to make sure they stay alive. And of course, the healing from the Estes, malaking bagay din binibigay ng healing galing sa Estes.
Men, hindi ko na ma-explain. Talagang nakita ko sa sarili kong mata nasa gitna ng control si Wise. Pero napabuhay pa rin ang Queen. Ako nahuli ang isa. And there goes the Alda. Here comes the Blessing of the Bulgades. Wala pa rin babagsak para sa ng Blacklist International sa double team para sa hari ng sunod na nagbabagsak na ng mga heal na nagagamit sa Blacklist International enough para mabuhay sila. At bait na nga kanilang call. And Sibol goes to Blacklist International.
What a great showing for Blacklist, but also a great showing for Bren Esports. Kaya ito yung laban na sa prime time eh. Ganda ng pinakita ng dalawang teams, pero nakikita natin na sobrang menacing pa ng Estes. Wala pang M3 skin yan ha. On the way pa yun. But it is still being played to really great perfection by Blacklist International. Again, ilang beses natin nakita, maybe 3-4 times, and yes, for a low kill game, madaming beses yun na ang ganda ng pagpasok at pag-set up ng Bren Esports for Kevs, for